All right, so, okay, anyway, getting home, getting kind of warm. I think I should take my toque off. I got my jacket open. As long as I'm not sweating, I'm okay. Anyway, as I was saying in the last video, like getting ready for season 8, what if there's going to be a season 8, will be based on the fur prices to see that if I scale up, you know, like, I mean, I know fur prices are at rock bottoms right now. And I mean, with synthetics and all that, fur prices are now, you know, they've been going down for about a, you know, at least they peaked a bit in 2014, but they still haven't hit like 1920s or 1980s levels for the furs. I mean, think about it this way. In 1920, you could get $300 for a prime large, extra large otter. Okay, in 1920, you catch 4 otters, that's a year's income for most people in 1920. You know what I mean? Like, people don't even spend that much money. 2 otters could buy you a Model A Ford or a Model T Ford, you know, or 3 maybe. You know what I mean? Like, that, think about that. Like, and then when we get into the 1980s, like I say, otters were, you know, $150, $300. I mean, you'd catch a fisher. My first fisher was $500 or $550, whatever it was, unskinned. My second one, because the tail was damaged, was $150, unskinned. You know what I mean? And yeah, now they're like $36. If you know, like, there's just, it's weird how the prices go, right? So if the prices are really good, and I think on a scaled up thing, then I could start to, you know, use the whole summer, especially if it's, depending on how much work I get, the whole spring and the whole summer to set myself up for season 8 of trapping. And, you know, plan out all, find all the entrances for all the beaver houses, stuff like that. And then the next thing I can do is go for a grant so I could scale up my traps, because I've only got 6 conibears and 3 of them I think are down for maintenance. Now, repairing them isn't a big deal, but it's only 6 conibears. So to catch my quota, I need to catch a lot in a short amount of time during the primest part of the season. So what I'll have to do is from, say, like December 12th, have everything ready to go from December 12th to, well, I guess February 12th or 15th or whatever. February 15th, from February 15th to, sorry, can't speak. December 15th to February 15th, where all the furs are the primest for most animals, whatever. But this SCDC thing, okay, now I was going to try to do it for my social media stuff, but again, you know, that's not a really great investment right now, because even though I could still use it and stuff like that, the demonetization, you know, like, YouTube is unreliable. You know, they keep moving the goalposts and finding ways to demonetize you and censor you and stuff like that. So you can't rely on it, right? It's not stable income. Unless, you know, like, for the ones that are promoted, yeah, they're fine, but a channel like mine could be, you know, targeted at any time for anything, right? So I can't really go out and get a loan or a grant, not a loan, but a grant for that. But the SCDC, basically, it's a French translation, but basically what it is it's grants and loans and stuff like that, and for business, small business. Now, one of the things I'm going to be able to do is go and apply for a $5,000 grant, meaning they give me the money, I don't have to pay it back, but I have to spend that money solely on, you know, business stuff. So you're talking 24 traps, so 24 traps, there's about $1,200 right there, roughly. Maybe you get a better deal on a dozen or whatever, but we'll just say with tax and all, it'll be about $1,200. So with 24 traps, if I could put out a trap per beaver entrance per night, I could potentially catch up to 24 beavers in one night, which, you know, even if you caught half of that in one night, within 2 or 3 nights you've caught in at least 24. So now, within a 2-week span, you could probably catch up to 100 to, say, 200 beavers, possibly, right? This is why you do all your scouting in the early season, so that, you know, you're not taking a gamble whether a beaver house has a lot of beavers in it. You can pick the prime stuff first when everything is prime, and then yeah, you can catch all your beavers right away, and then you can just set up my trapping shack, whatever, and get that all done up so that it's heated, so that I'm not sitting there with my hands completely frozen trying to skin animals. And you can do more than one in a day because, you know, you're comfortable, right? And you're out of the weather. So I'm going to set up the trapping shack. The other thing is I could take some of that money, which after tax, I guess if you get the grant, they'll give you the $5,000 grant. They'll give you $4,500 because they take the taxes off. So about $4,500 or $4,300 or $42, whatever it is, or a little over. We'll say up to $4,500. In that, I can factor in a sleigh and hopefully a fairly reliable machine, i.e. snowmobile, to get into places where I can get into with the snowmobile where I can't get with a regular vehicle. So there's that, and then there's all kind of, the rest could be spent on trap holders, obviously a fleshing beam, a proper fleshing beam, which is a couple of $100. You can make one, but it's a lot easier just to buy one. Like it's made, it does what you want. I can get skinning gambles, stuff that'll create, because if I can get down to skinning a beaver in less than 15 minutes, which I'm at my best record, even though I didn't get it on film because I was just too busy this year to film everything. But my first beaver was like 6 hours to deal with the whole from start to finish. But again, it was the first beaver of the season or whatever, and first beaver since 2014 that I caught. But my last few beavers were like skinning them in under half, around 35 minutes. Right, which is not bad. So you can do at least 2 beavers an hour if you're really good. Okay, so that's not great, but if you can get them to 20 minutes, you can do 3 beavers an hour. If you get to 15, you can do 4 beavers an hour. Now mind you, after the second beaver, you're going to be starting to wear out, so we'll just say 3 beavers an hour is probably a good pace for a professional. Now I know those guys out there that can skin a beaver in 5 minutes, but listen to how they're puffing. They're puffing more than what I am right now when they do that, because I mean that's really intense work to do that. Your hands just won't be able to hold up to that. I mean, you might be able to do a couple of them at that in a row, but if you're catching 10 beavers a night for 20 nights in a row, the idea is to catch all the beavers and then just okay, do all the trapping, bring the beavers home, freeze them if you have to, skin a couple, and then once you got your quota, just go to town skinning them, and then that's a much better setup. And then you go out for the next batch. So you do it in beaver blitzkriegs or whatever. But with if I can get the loan, which I don't see why I wouldn't get it, because I'm already making money with this, and I'm already I've been doing it off and on for a few years now, and I can't see why I wouldn't get it, right? So, but we'll see. Even if I didn't buy a snowmobile with it, I would buy, say, I could just spend the whole thing on traps. You know what I mean? So like it's a matter of scale. Like let's say I could get 100 traps, okay? Get a good deal on 100 traps, 100 330 conibears for, like, say, even if they were a little old, but they were just fixer-uppers, but they were all good quality. They weren't these old worn-out ones. If I could put out 100 traps in one night, I could probably, potentially in 2 nights, catch 200 beavers, which you can't skin all in one night. But then what I do is, freeze them up and just, spend like 2 weeks skinning, you know what I mean? Skin them all and then freeze them and then flesh them all, you know what I mean? And then you just spend the whole winter, then you're not running back and forth every day, you know what I mean? You get your quota done early. Otters are kind of, if you can catch 2 animals a night, even 1 animal a night, like that's a pay. If you catch 10 animals a night, that's beyond a living. Like that's gonna be good. Like, think of if you averaged $30 an animal, or even $20 an animal, and you caught 250 animals for the season. Okay, it's not a full living, but if you got like $30 an animal and you caught, you see how it scales up very quickly, right? So, and if you get $100 animals, which do happen from time to time, I've caught in several animals even with bad fur prices, like otters. I had one 115, one 96, one was 105. It's like my otters have always done well here, so yeah, so that's an option for me, is to to get a grant for season 8, because then I'd have everything ready to go. I wouldn't have to build anything. Everything will be ready to go. So when it's go time, I'm not wasting my time building beaver hoops and trapping boards and stuff like that. It's just go, you know. And that's the goal for season 8, is just to make it efficient as possible. And but we'll see. We'll see. Once I get to the auction prices, I'll see for sure whether it's worthwhile to do it next year. I mean, if I'm going to get like $150 for 4 months worth of work on 16 animals, on 15 animals, I mean, like $10 an animal, you know, you just can't scale it up enough. And you just can't, you know, you can't do the work fast enough to make it profitable. That's the problem there. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. There we go.